We're studying John 14, 1 through 3 at this moment. Okay, go ahead.
If I can get this thing to move over. Okay, somebody read it. Bev?
Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions.
Rooms.
If it were not so, I would
have told you.
I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
So, what translation was that?
King James.
King James. So, Karen, what is your translation? Yours is New NIV, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope you didn't lose your spot.
No.
Go ahead and read it.
Read the same thing?
Correct.
John 14.
Do not let your hearts be
3.
Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. And then number 4 is you know the way, the place where I am going.
Well,
I know that.
1 through 3 is what, it's hard for us to focus because
Well, for me, it's for some point, it's this section and that section. That is what I've had written.
So 1
forever.
through 3, can you read yours? What is your translation?
New King James.
Oh, New King James.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
It just takes out the these and the thous.
Yeah, it corrects the dusts and dearths and thous and whatever.
Correct.
Not entirely, but
Yeah.
let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions, or dwelling places, actually. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also.
So, good news.
We have McMansions.
What is, it didn't say that, did it?
Yeah.
No, it said mansions. Didn't say the little McMansion extensions.
And your etymologies will not even use the phrase mansion. Nonetheless, what does the good news say?
I don't have it handy. I can hold on.
Right
I know, but I'm trying to record. So you're giving me a little bit of a balancing act, a juggling act. Okay, John 14.
14.
What a coinkydink! I just turned. Would you believe it just opened up to that?
How about that?
What verses?
1 through 3.
Wow,
3.
I was right on the page. Here we go. Do not be worried and upset, Jesus told them. Believe in God and believe also in me. There are many rooms in my Father's house, and I am going to prepare a place for you. I would not tell you this if it were not so. In other words, that differs from the earlier reads. That's why it's a double negative on this one. I wouldn't tell you this if it weren't so. And after I go and prepare a place for you, I will, hold on, I will come back and take you to myself, so that you will be where I am. You will know the way that leads to the place where I am going.
So, Bev,
Coordinates.
what is something that stands out to you in that?
In those verses.
Coordinates.
you're going on to verse 4, which I didn't ask everybody to read.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Hey, man, I woke up at 3 a.m. today for taxi, so.
I was still awake and reading.
Listen to this guy.
So it doesn't matter
Just the-
what we were doing. We're here now, and Bev,
The security that he gives us with this, that he's going ahead of us to prepare a place just for us.
just for us.
And we needn't worry. We
Mhm.
don't need to be troubled.
Mm-hmm.
He tells us not to be,
Mm-hmm.
because we believe in God. We believe in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
How could we go wrong?
Our dwelling place, our future is in His
Always
hands.
with him.
Karen, what is there any sentence that you could say stands out to you?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, this one's an interesting one. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. I am.
That stands out to you. Kent, what stands out to you? No essay, just a simple.
No, it's, let not your heart be troubled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is his first line in that. The
Mhm.
emphasis, the point is that our entire walk in many ways seems to be one because we're in the world, or are in the world, and not to be of the world. The world impinges upon us on such that we're troubled at all times by many things, and he's trying to confirm to us that once we know that we believe in God and Jesus Christ, we don't have to be troubled by these things.
Mm.
Not to be troubled at all. Artie, what stood out to you?
I got, as Karen was going over it, that, and I answered some mail earlier today of people checking in. If God is God, of course He is. It's a rhetorical, but this is the way I postured it to somebody who wrote in, going, "I just lost the beloved family pet. Can you please offer some words?" And I said, well, I told them, you're going to get back your pet, and possibly even with upgrades, like, for example, maybe telepathy. They'll be able to communicate with you in an upgraded way
Mm-hmm.
on the new earth. If God is not God, then He won't be able to do that. But if God is God, you're going to get your pets back.
Mm-hmm.
This is extra biblical, but this is what I'll stand on that.
Let's stay biblical.
Wait a minute. I know you like doing to stay biblical, but you asked me to answer. I'm going to answer my way. This is my answer, not yours. My answer to you is you're going to get the recreated. If I had to pick one place in your house, now coming full circle, along the lines of the restored pet, it would be that backyard of yours. That backyard of yours is resplendent. And every blade of grass, except the weeds, right? That speaks to what Kent was talking about, the troubled stuff. The troubled stuff gets removed, but every blade of grass in that backyard, with you being young in a new body and Jim being in a new body, a recognizable one, mind you, will be there, and the presence of the Lord will be there, and it will be awesome. I led do I have 2 seconds more? No. I led a men's group one day where I asked the rhetorical question, do we have our favorite T-shirts on the new earth. That beat up, raggedy T-shirt that we loved, that we didn't let our wives throw away. Do we get to keep that on the new earth? And I argued, yes. Why not? Does it materially cause sin? No. Maybe unless the T-shirt had something naughty on it or whatever. But let's say you had a Superman shirt, right? Do I get to keep it? That's my theory. I'll fall on that grenade, David. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there's no theory to the fact that he says, I go away to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I will come again. So that when I come again, I can then take you where I am.
Mhm.
So those who have passed right now already, since Adam till today, how many of them are in the place where Jesus is right now?
Probably none of them.
Probably, or what does the Bible say right there that we just read?
But it says, no, they won't be with him.
You mean it's still under construction, is what you're trying to say?
I'm not trying to say a thing. I'm reading the scripture. The scripture says that when I have prepared this place, then I will come and get you.
And he hasn't come back yet.
Correct. That doesn't mean that there isn't a waiting room, or as you referred to earlier, when somebody, like as an example, I have this image that you've seen it of King Solomon. It's a beautiful image. It's in all his pomp and splendor,
Mhm.
with his steps and the lions and so forth, and the Queen of Sheba coming.
Mhm.
Well, there was a whole lot of people waiting to see him. They didn't come into his throne room until they were asked or brought in by the steward, which would be the Holy Spirit. But they were in a waiting room. The best thing that I've read thus far as a description of where somebody who has fallen asleep in Christ is a place of comfort, such as Abraham's bosom.
What did you just say?
Abraham's bosom. There is a parable where Jesus speaks about there was the rich man and there was Lazarus, and
Lazarus.
the one guy lived sumptuously and the other guy this and that, the other. But the scripture was basically one guy in Abraham's bosom. What's a bosom good for?
It holds your heart.
Well, this is a family gathering, so we're going to be a little rated PG about the answer to that question.
Comfort. Thank you. It's a place of comfort.
Okay.
It's referred to in Song of Solomon and Lamentations as a beautiful place, a woman's breast. But more important than anything, what does it do?
Warmth, milk, okay.
It nourishes. So there's a place of rest and comfort where one can be nourished.
Do you have time for me for a couple more Blades of Grass talk? We're watching the World Cup right now, and I talked to my dad, who's
You are.
got on in years. Well, there's a big viewership, right? I'm not speaking about you necessarily, right? So Batman is over at his dad's house watching some of the games, right? And I turned to my father, who's in his 80s. I'm in my approaching 60, and I said, somewhere, right? Some parts of New Heaven, New Earth are under construction, as you're laying out. Some parts. That's where I'll meet you. Not that it's completely incomplete. And I turned to my dad and I go, we're going to be in young, perfected bodies, and you and I are going to be playing soccer for however long we feel like. We have eternity. We're going to play on an open field and play the game till we become experts like Pelé if we want to. We could spend the first 5,000 years in heaven doing that if we feel like. It'd be like going into a college and there's all these things. You can get training from the most greatest Belgian chefs, French chefs in the world that have made it up there. Who knows if it's Julia Child or somebody else? And then the next 1,000 years, you can learn how to play violin from Stradivarius if you want. Learn ballet from Baryshnikov. This and the other. That was just something I wanted to share at that
All
moment.
scripturally founded.
I will have to look it up, but I would say
Please.
if God is not God, then there are limitations. Otherwise, don't put limitations.
He's very limited. He's limited by his rules.
I will say this also. I will go so far as to say, I believe that with the sinful parts taken out, I'm speaking about myself, and this is extra biblical, so you out there listening, take it with a grain of salt. This is just my theories. The dreaming, I'm in the transition between dreaming dreams and seeing visions. I'm at that age where I'm going across the two planes. And right now, the other thing that comes to mind is if God is God, I want some of my creature comforts that are in my house to be the same, to be on the new earth, for what it's worth. Maybe not TV, but a favorite old book. Maybe Uncle Scrooge. Maybe it'll be comic books, what have you. You have the con, sire. I don't want to monopolize, but now you got me on an animated
I'm gonna
subject.
request that we keep things scripturally founded.
Get out of the comic books.
Oy vey.
Get out of personal desires and take on the desire of the Lord. Think about this. Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. We have an image I saw on someplace of what they refer to as the finger of God, the fingers of God.
In the astronomy.
Some camera, some
Yes, telescope.
taking this picture of this thing that's 1,000 or 10,000 light years away.
It looks like a hand.
What if we want to play a what if game, which is all it is a what if game? What if God is a spirit, not dependent upon sight, sound, smell, touch, or taste? And we limit ourselves and our future and all of eternity to sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. But he has someplace 10 times further than those fingers of God.
Yes, yes.
For us to do something. Will we need to take our Batman comic with us?
This is an interesting, beautiful question. That is a beautiful question. I don't have the answer, but my own 2 cents on this is that we will have a somewhat refined historical preservation society up in heaven. There will be things that, like for example, Jim's daughter made this offering plate, correct? Wasn't that your daughter's doing? That plate? Wasn't it?
Oh,
Wasn't it? Isn't it made by hand?
yes. It was, yes, it's one of his daughters.
Okay, my argument there is that plate is going to be, that plate will be with us on the new earth.
Yeah.
That plate is a keepsake. It's an heirloom. It causes no intrinsic sinful nature to it. This was a holy thing that we participated with intimately here, holding house church. Sorry, David, go ahead.
Until we step away from such nonsense, we're going to live in sin, and the earth will continue on its path to hell. We're either going to speak scripturally, or we can just speak of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy. But here's a song.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll agree to disagree.
I don't agree to disagree. I've never said that I would agree to disagree with you. Over 10 years, I have never said that I will agree to disagree with you.
But why am I being cataloged into fantasy
I do not
versus speculation?
Stop. Stop. I do not agree to disagree because that's counter biblical. We will all speak to one another until we all come to one faith, one baptism, one Lord. Not say, well, that's your Lord, this is mine. This is the way I see the Lord, this is the way you see the Lord. Now we're going to come to one agreement. I will never agree to disagree with you. We will have fellowship until we are in perfect unity. That's what the scriptures tell us.
Okay, man.
So here's
I agree with that.